show your notes in a Commonplace book, or, a Commonplace binder. I'm going to set this down now. So, what I was just holding was a Commonplace binder, and the only difference between a Commonplace binder and a Commonplace book is that a Commonplace binder doesn't exist. And so I'm just calling a Commonplace book something else because I am keeping it in a binder. So this is a 100 video playlist. We're on video number 62. That is this video, that's next video. I'm going to go through these one column at a time. But one of the benefits of a Commonplace binder is 62. That is right here, guide. Look at that. And so guide is part of the title. And so this way I can have 100 unique videos, and I don't really have to think about it too much, which is quite nice. Because while I do like thinking, I don't like thinking all day, every day, about every single thing. And so it's kind of nice to relax. Show your notes. So one of the benefits of having a Commonplace book or a Commonplace binder, I will make that a little easier to say as we go through the video, is that you just kind of write down your stuff and then look at it later. And when you look at it later, you kind of fix it up rather than reading a library book where you just kind of look at it. So it's all about editing it. Step by step. How do you edit it? Well, what you do is you open up your binder, turn to a page, and then adjust the information present. So it's not super complicated. You just edit your stuff. Efficient and brief. So that is the way you are supposed to edit it. So you are supposed to efficiently go through your things and also make the things more efficient. And you're supposed to briefly go through your things, but you're also supposed to make the things brief. So, for example, if I made a recording of this video and I was going to put that in my Commonplace book, I would reduce it from like a gigantic transcript down to just a few sentences that say what happened and what I thought was valuable, and then maybe some more information below that, and maybe I would write down the title of the video as, the source of where it came from and the channel. Maybe when I watched it, like, you can add more details, but really you just want to add a little bit of whatever will be helpful. Products or entries. So maybe the thing to do is just buy more products or make more entries. Well, I mean, you do kind of need some products to make the thing. Like if you don't have a binder, it's kind of difficult to have a Commonplace binder. You know what I mean? But you don't necessarily need to buy all the fanciest stuff. You just need like a writing utensil. And if you don't have a writing utensil, it's going to be a little difficult to write the things down. And in terms of entries, are you just making more of them? Kind of. Yeah, you're just going to make more entries like forever. So not necessarily every day, but assuming you write down one sentence once every, 3 days. After 9 years, that's going to be more than 1,000 sentences. So like, even if you don't really put any effort into this, it's just going to show up. So just keep doing it. They don't get it. Oh, they don't understand me. They don't understand my project. No, like, some people aren't really going to understand what you're doing. They might be like, why are you writing things down on paper? Why not just use a digital system? And it's like, well, digital system is very convenient, but it doesn't necessarily feel great. So like this, it's a thing. I can pick it up. I can be like, ooh, what's going on here? Oh, that's different. Like, you can play around with it. And it's a physical thing, so I can put it on my shelf and be like, I did this. I made this. Look at that. And then set it back down because, again, I don't want to be carrying things for too long. So yeah, they don't get it. As long as you get it, it's fine. That also goes for entries. So you could have a password section named Jar Jar Binks. That's fine. If it's named something super random, nobody's going to find it if you have, like, 30 binders. If there's just a single page somewhere within the 30 binders, they're not going to find it if you label it something different. And that's fine. I mean, that's great. But normally people don't put all their passwords in something like this. And if you did, and somebody didn't know where it was, they could obviously just pick up all the binders and then walk out the door and then be like, I'll get to that later. they do get it. So maybe, after hearing what I was just saying, you kind of realized maybe this actually makes sense. Maybe it makes sense to write down my stuff on paper sometimes. Probably not the Jar Jar Binks thing. So, the way to guide another person through this, you kind of don't. You kind of just say, good luck, have fun, and hope it goes well. Importance. So is there any importance to anything I am saying right now? Yes, because there are a few unique things. So for one, is we're talking about binder, and pretty much nobody else talks about a commonplace as a binder, specifically with the word binder. Although I think there are a few videos at this point that do that now. But basically, because the pages go in and out, because you can just take them out or put them back in wherever you want, there are no page numbers. And because there are no page numbers, there's no index. Because there's no index, we need to keep track of things in a different way. So for that, I use a content section, write the section down, write the section down, and then write it down on the top of the page. And that's it. But also, what is the importance of doing this whole thing in the first place? It depends on who you are, what you want, what you need, what you're going to use it for. So if you're getting old, you might be making something to pass on to somebody else. If you're really young, you might be trying out a new thing. If you're somewhere in the middle, you're probably improving on something you've already done. Might be something else. Organize your life. Maybe you're using this to organize your life because you were like, well, I heard this guy talk about how he had a lot of clutter and he fixed it by putting it all in a binder. By taking pictures of the things or writing down what he thought about certain things, he was able to get rid of a lot of clutter. Yeah, so that did work for me. That's not necessarily going to work for other people. Because for starters, I didn't have a whole lot of stuff in the first place. Because a lot of my stuff was, let's just say, taken without permission and never returned. Yeah. Starter videos. I kind of go over that in the starter videos on the channel. Not necessarily the starter videos for anyone trying to get into this, but the starter videos for me to try to figure out how to make videos where I'm watching my face. Still don't know how I feel about that, but I am using the camera where I can see myself rather than the camera on the other side of the phone, which I've heard is substantially better, but that would be extremely depressing because then I would just be talking to a random spot on a phone at night because it's 4 o'clock in the morning right now, so I should probably get through this before I fall asleep. Sucked in. Well, if you're still watching, you probably got sucked into this video because we're almost 8 minutes in. So like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. No, if you're doing the commonplacing stuff, you're probably going to get sucked into it at some point. If you're like just doing it out of habit and you're like, I don't know, man, I'm just trying this out. It might be at some point you find out you can do something fun. You might be like, ooh, I can print. Look at all this stuff, which comes so easily. I don't have to work for it. Wow. And then you might find out that you do have to work for it. It's just later on rather than all up front. So might be you get sucked in by something that's supposed to be easy, but is actually super hard. Or, I don't know, maybe you just love it. Guiding, not forcing. So I am not saying you need to do this in a specific way. If you do this, I am saying that I think a binder would be better than a book, but if you start with a book, that's fine. It's just probably going to be harder. And a book is the standard way to do it, so congrats, you did it the standard way. And most people will be able to assist because they know what you're doing. Yeah, and so this isn't really a thing that needs to be forced. I'm kind of forcing my way through these videos because I did say I was going to make 100 of them. That's kind of a lot. But I have a plan, and we are executing the plan. And, we're almost 2/3 of the way through the plan. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm just guiding myself through the process of making 100 videos. And it might be when you have a binder, you're just guiding yourself through the process of working on something else. They just started. Oh my gosh, who started? Huh? What? Who started? So it might be you see someone who has a single sheet of paper on their page. Nope, that wasn't right. A single piece of paper on their page doesn't make any sense. I meant to say a single piece of writing on their page, but I was also trying to say a single sheet of paper within their binder. And maybe I was trying to say a few other things, but the point is, there are some indicators that someone's just starting out. And so when they're just starting out, their stuff isn't necessarily going to look super good. And it might be they made it in one way and tried to transfer it to another way. So if you're starting in a book and you're trying to move all your stuff into a binder, good luck with that. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but it will be a little bit more annoying at first than later on, because you will figure out how it works and probably many more ways how it doesn't. So, their alternative. What is the alternative? Well, if you're working in books, you get one book, and then a second book, and then a third book. And before you know it, you might have like 100 books, because if the process is, I get another book, I fill it up, I move on to the next one, well, you're going to have a lot of books. And so if you treat the binders the same way, you're going to have a lot of binders. So what's the alternative? Well, it might be you prioritize things in the way that I do. It could be that you do all your thinking up front and you just blast your way through everything, in which you don't deprioritize anything, you just delete it. Like, I know what I want, I know what I don't want, I'm getting rid of what I don't want. Duh. Yeah, I'm not that bold anymore. Maybe I should try to be that bold in the future. Information hibernation. So are you hibernating, or is your information hibernating? Because it might be that your nice fancy little binder has lulled you into a false sense of security and there are things that need to be done. No, really the information is just going to be chilling, and so it's not necessarily knowledge or wisdom, it's just some stuff you wrote down when you were younger, because if you wrote it down 5 minutes ago, congrats, you're older now, and hopefully no one's offended by that. Oh man. I met someone recently who's constantly offended when anything is brought up that regards any age of anything, because they think they're getting old, which is fine, I guess, but it's just one of those things I forgot that some people worry about. Because, like, you get older, congrats, you're not dead, good job. Oh man. Let go of the past. So if you're writing down all of the stuff in your past, how are you going to let go of it? Well, it might be that you don't. It might be that it gets hyper-focused on, and it might be that kind of sucks, because best case scenario, you are reliving your glory days. And if you are reliving them rather than experiencing them, then they are all in the past, which means you might get stuck. Although, if you did something great and you hold yourself to that same standard and you always focus on keeping that level all the way up there, then maybe that would be pretty good. So it might be what you do is you go all in on one thing, write down exactly how you did it and how to upkeep that. Take a break, work on something else, max that out, and then you just do this for a whole bunch of different things, and then you can stay up to date on, I don't know, a whole bunch of different things that people normally can't do in the first place. Planning positive change. We're going to be super friendly. We're going to change the world. I mean, I hope so. For the better, right? Yeah. So in my next playlist, my upcoming playlist, the playlist for 2026, I am not going to be talking about Commonplace Binder, I'm going to be talking about Commonplace Diploma, because I want to put the Commonplace Binder, which might not necessarily be a binder for the entire project, within the school system. And I want to make several modifications to the school system, and I believe that should be possible regardless of who the administration is, but you never know, because things can be very unpredictable. I'm very confident that my version will work regardless of the administration, because it's specifically designed for democracy or dictatorship. So, like, even if everything someone says, which is bad, about an administration happens to be true, I believe the system will still function, because at first it... No, I don't want to spoil the whole thing. Beginner Purgatory. So I kind of feel like I'm in Beginner Purgatory. because I don't know how to make videos. I feel like I need to fix the lighting. So when making a video with special lighting, I think there's supposed to be 3 different light sources, but I think they're supposed to be at different angles, and I think I'm supposed to fix up the lighting somehow, and some things will be softer or harder, and if you have any lighting tips, throw those down below. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to lighting. I'm just like, here's a presentation. I hope you can see it. But yeah, beginner purgatory, because I hope if we're beginners, we can like work our way out of the purgatory. We're not just stuck in like a permanent place. Authentic creation. So I believe a lot of the most authentic stuff happens before people reach 1,000 subscribers. And so I believe I will be in that position until at least the end of the month. But probably until at least the end of the year. Because I don't think I am growing at 10 times per year. I think I'm growing at more like 9 times or 8 times. So that's still very impressive, but I'm going to be below that little marker. And so what that means is I think I should be able to do a little bit more of the authentic creation, because I'm not as worried about like literally everyone seeing it. It could always happen. You know, it could be instead of a video having 100 views, it has like 10,000. But realistically, I don't think anything's going to have more than 100 times what the other things had. Maybe. It could happen. So what am I going to do with this time where I can do authentic creation? Apparently, I'm just going to churn out a bunch of videos talking about the same thing rather than exploring my interests, which seems kind of dumb. So one thing I've been thinking about is just making a Discord server where I just have all the people who are here at the beginning have a place where they can hang out, and then closing it. Just being like, nobody comes in after this point. But I might talk about that a few videos from now. I don't know. I think we can save it for the products video. Solving surface level problems. Maybe that's what a fancy new product will do for you. No, I don't think I'm going to be trying to push any specific type of notebook or pencil or pen or whatever else in that video. It might be. It might be things get really bad and I need some money and I need it fast. No, realistically, I am just going to say like, hey, I'm working on my 2025 playlist. Maybe consider checking out my 2024 playlist, which might actually include some products. But if I have a whole bunch of products in the future, I will probably attach them to the 66 video as like something in the description. Or, you know, make sure that the comment section is all about products that people can use regarding it. But I don't know, because we're not there yet, and I am recording 61, 62, 63, and 64 today. So, I need to make sure I keep doing that. Solving surface level problems of me forgetting where I am. Knowledge silos. So, one cool thing about making this presentation is I've basically grouped all the information that I think is relevant for this specific thing. And so if I expanded on this, and I had some other people help with this, and we kept that going for, you know, hundreds of years, that would kind of be like a knowledge silo. Now, if you know about knowledge silos and you would like to explain to everyone why that is incorrect, please leave that down below. But basically, people learn different things. So if you have like 3 sons in the medieval era, you know, one son might be the heir who inherits everything, and so they will own the land that their father owned, and they're just going to take care of that. And then it might be the second son, you know, is part of the church, so that way that guy's not going to have any extra kids, which would potentially be a threat to the first son, because they might be like, well, you know, if only a few people go missing, then I get all the land. So that person might go into the church. They could also go into the military. So let's say the third kid goes into the military. All 3 of those kids are going to learn completely different things. So one is going to learn, you know, money management and which neighbors to trust and talk to and rely on. Probably how to grow food and stuff like that. And then the second one is going to be pretty focused on learning how to read and write and, you know, recite things or stay silent or whatever other priestly things they happen to be up to. And then the third son, who's going into the military, is probably going to be learning a little bit less refined methods of communicating with humans. But the point is, all of them are kind of in their own little knowledge silo. Like, they're collecting information, but it doesn't really transfer outside of that space. And so if all of their friends are also from that space, and all the people that they hang out with for decades are also in that space, it might be they know that space really well, but they don't really know anything else. And so there is always a risk when someone's working on a commonplace that they create their own individual knowledge silo. And so they know everything about themselves. They don't know anything about the world, though. So, for example, I have been working on this sort of thing for a long time. And do I know anything about the world? It kind of seems like I don't, because I went through all the different possible ways that I thought people would think about things, but I did that from my own perspective, because even when I was taking quotes from other people and I was writing down my thoughts about those, I was doing it under the assumption that, well, certain things wouldn't happen, because it just didn't make any sense. So the next thing is commonplacing enhances creativity. It might be I just got too creative. No, probably not. That wouldn't make a huge amount of sense. In the next video, I think I'm going to be talking about how it doesn't necessarily increase creativity, but it decreases the things which reduce creativity. So if you want to check that out, if you want to tell me I'm wrong when you watch that and find out it's not actually about that thing, because this is a summarized title and I'm just guessing about a video I haven't even made yet, then yeah, check that out. So thank you for watching. I know this one's been more than 20 minutes, which is kind of a long time. And so, bye.